Here's everything you need to know about COVID if you're a leader or a member of a team in January 2022. My name's Graham Codrington. I'm not a medical professional, but I am a scenario planner. And in that context, there are 4 things that you and your team need to consider in the workplace. I know it's an ambitious title to this video, that it's everything you need to know, but I think that there's good news in that, that if you apply these 4 things, it will make all the difference to you and your team in 2022. So the first thing that you need is to know more about COVID. That might sound like a strange place to start because we've had COVID for 2 years. What more is there to know? But every new variant that emerges changes the rules, brings new approaches, and that's really what has happened with Omicron. We need to understand why most countries around the world have changed their approach. And the approach is now moving very quickly towards trying to live with COVID. And if Omicron is the last variant of concern, that's probably the right way to go about it. Omicron is less dangerous if you're vaccinated. Now, that's a little bit of a dangerous thing to say, actually, because there are people getting sick. People who are vaccinated are getting the Omicron variant. But it does appear that if you're vaccinated, there's less of a concern with you. Still have to self-isolate, still have to go through the processes, but it looks as if you're not going to need to go to hospital or pass away. It's still very infectious. And they're all over the world. New records are coming with number of people who are being infected, and with the unvaccinated especially, new records of people getting into hospital and so on. And of course, there's still something we're not talking about enough, and that is long COVID. People who are going to suffer with the effects of the after effects of COVID in their systems for a long time. We know that the people who are at the biggest risk are essentially still the same: the elderly, the unhealthy, those who are just generally unfit. Stress is a huge issue here. Those people who are stressed are also more open to COVID, it seems, and the unvaccinated. Now, I'm going to put some resources, some links for you to read into the notes related to this video. If you can't see those notes, then go to my website, grahamcodrington.com, and just look under the videos list, go down to 13th of January 2022, and you'll see this video and all the notes attached to it. What do we need to do as we understand Omicron? Well, we can be less scared, less nervous. If we get a bout of COVID, we know more about it now. We can probably recover from it and recover from it faster. But we need to keep our physical distancing, wear masks, especially in public, meet outdoors as far as possible, and get vaccinated if you want to and if you can. So learn more about COVID and understand why Omicron is causing a change in approach. Useful start. But now, I think the most important thing is your workplace policy. So the second thing to deal with COVID at the moment is you need to be a lot clearer about the policies that you are going to implement in your workplace. If you need to get people together, the focus needs to be on the health and safety of everyone. I think we need to stop fighting about vaccination or unvaccination. We need to stop fighting about some of the ideological positions that we've taken during the pandemic and whether lockdown is right or wrong. Right now, we're in a situation where you and your workplace, it's up to you to make the policies that are going to govern the way that you work together. And the focus needs to be on health and safety. I'm not saying you need a vaccine mandate or shouldn't have one, or a mask mandate, or whether vaccine status should be declared. I think that's something we should be talking about more. That I would like to know if the person next to me is not vaccinated or not. But whatever you decide, here's the key. Courts all around the world, lawyers and judges, are saying you have the right as an organization, as a workplace, to do whatever you think is necessary in order to make sure that everybody is healthy and safe in the workplace. And if you go about having a conversation with your staff or go through whatever processes are mandated by your country, by your industry, by your own company's policies, and you reach a decision about what you want to do, if you go through the correct processes, the courts will back you up. So if you want to put in a vaccine mandate, go through the processes, make the policy clear, and then you can pretty much do what you want to do. I'm not a lawyer, so double check this with your legal team. But it seems to me that if your focus is on health and safety, and that's the focus you should have, then you can put whatever mandates you like in place. And as long as you are clear and apply those policies in a fair and equitable way, you can have whatever policies you're looking for. But if I need to say it again, let me do that. Your policies need to be clear so that there's no confusion. Your policies need to be clear so that if one or other of your staff members try to take a chance with you, the policies are clear, and your policies need to be clear just in case somebody tries to test that in court. But you should be fine as far as I can see, as long as you're, what's that word again? Clear. So get your workplace policies in place and make sure you communicate them well. But if we're talking about health and safety, I also want to suggest to you that your focus should not just be on productivity, how to get everybody back into the office and working as hard as possible. Your focus needs to be on the health and the safety of your staff. And I have a huge concern about stress in the system. You know, last year, most of our clients did exceptionally well. And I think maybe surprised themselves as to how well they coped with lockdown and working from home and disruption. And maybe got to the end of the year feeling, actually, we had a good year. And not only just a good year considering COVID, but a good year in general. But I think that high productivity is masking exhaustion. As we start to January 2022, I'm speaking to people, and although they might have had a break or had a few days off, they're still exhausted. They're tired. They're starting the work feeling almost burnt out, and that's a horrible bad sign. Wouldn't it be disastrous if we all survived COVID and then started to get hit with stress-related issues, which, by the way, would have almost exactly the same effect on your workplace anyway. So please don't just focus on productivity, focus properly on health and safety. Now that brings us to the third thing that we need to be dealing with in the workplace, and that is personal responsibility. Let's get back to COVID. Omicron appears to come on very, very quickly, which is good news. It's kind of a day or two and then you see the symptoms. And we know the symptoms now. So the personal responsibility is, if you've had exposure to COVID or you think you're coming down with COVID, we need to build workplaces where people are confident to declare that, to say, I'm sick or I've had exposure. We need to build workplaces that allow people to stay at home, to isolate for a day or two. If they get COVID, we can obviously support them as we need to. And the good news is, again, if you're vaccinated, Omicron moves on very, very quickly. It gets out of your system within a matter of days. If you're unvaccinated and you don't get a bad version of it, it's sort of the 10 to 14 days again. Again, your country and your company policies need to be clear about how many days you need to self-isolate and what the process is if you have been exposed to COVID or get COVID, vaccinated or unvaccinated. One of the things we need to do is make sure that people are comfortable and confident that they can declare all of this, that it doesn't jeopardize their employment or their working, and that they feel that they're going to get support. It might even be that if you live in a country where it is difficult to get hold of COVID testing, that you as a company provide tests, either some of the rapid home tests if those are available to you, and just buy enough so that you can give them to people who need them, or have testing facilities available to people via your business. I think testing and being open about COVID is going to be the long-term way forward. Again, your company policies need to be clear about what will happen, and your company culture needs to support that level of personal responsibility. And that can maybe and hopefully take us beyond the fight. If you're vaccinated, you're going to be off work less and get back faster. If you're unvaccinated, you're going to be away longer. If there are implications and consequences to being vaccinated or unvaccinated, make it clear and let people make their decisions appropriately. And so the fourth thing is, if you've understood everything I've said so far, is you're probably realizing you're going to have to continue to be flexible. You're going to continue to have to be adaptable. And you're going to continue to have a hybrid environment where people are away and often unplanned away for a few days. And you're going to have to continue with all that you've learnt over the last few years in terms of being adaptive in your response as leaders, as teams, as organizations. And that's what we do at Tomorrow Today Global. We're not medical professionals, we're not lawyers, so we can't help you with some of the other things. But what we can help you to do is to keep up to date with what's happening, to anticipate disruptive change that's coming, to build adaptive skill sets into yourselves and into your systems, and know how to navigate through change and transitions that might be required in the system. So if we can assist you in any way in gearing up for 2022, if we can assist you in becoming more adaptive so that whatever comes our way in 2022, you'll be able to cope with. You know, if Omicron is the last variant of concern, I think we now see the playbook for 2022. If another variant emerges that's worse again, well, all bets are off and we go back to the beginning again, and need adaptability. So if we can help you with that, please contact us. Have a look again at my website or look at our team's website, TomorrowTodayGlobal.com. We'd love to work with you to give you the confidence you need to make the most of 2022. Hopefully we'll hear from you soon.